the most illegal thing you've ever done that you don't regret? I never planned to steal a dead body, but when my best friend called at 3 a.m. sobbing uncontrollably, everything changed. They won't let me see him, Sarah cried. My own brother, and they won't let me say goodbye. Her brother Jake had died suddenly in a motorcycle accident, but their estranged parents had taken control of the funeral arrangements and explicitly banned Sarah from attending. The same parents who had kicked Jake out at 16 for being gay. The same parents who Sarah had cut contact with years ago. Now they were pretending to be grieving parents while denying the one person who had actually loved Jake the chance to say goodbye. The funeral was scheduled for the next morning. Sarah had already tried reasoning, begging, and threatening legal action, but nothing worked. Their parents had the law on their side as next of kin. As I listened to her heartbreak, something inside me snapped. What if you could see him one last time? I asked quietly. What if I could make that happen? There was a pause on the line. What are you saying? She whispered. I took a deep breath. The funeral home, tonight. Just you and Jake. One last goodbye. I'd worked at Hartman's funeral home during college, cleaning and helping with basic preparation. I still had keys that were never returned when I quit 3 years ago. I knew the security code, the layout, and most importantly, I knew they had no overnight staff on Tuesdays. It was Tuesday. I told Sarah to meet me 2 blocks away at midnight, wearing dark clothes and bringing nothing that could identify her. I didn't tell her exactly what I was planning. Some things are better left unsaid until they're already in motion. At 11:45 p.m., I parked behind the funeral home, heart pounding so hard I could barely breathe. The building was dark, except for the security lights. I used my old keys, punched in the code I prayed hadn't been changed, and slipped inside when the alarm light turned green. The preparation room was in the basement, clinical and cold. I checked the schedule board and found Jake's name. Room 3, funeral, at 10 a.m. I opened the door, and there he was, already in his casket. Dressed in a suit I knew he would have hated. Jake, who only ever wore band t-shirts and ripped jeans, now looked like a banker. I texted Sarah to come to the back door, then carefully wheeled the casket into the small private viewing room nearby. When she arrived, her face was pale but determined. She froze when she saw the open casket. I thought we were just going to peek in or something, she whispered. Not move him. I locked the door behind her. 20 minutes, I said. That's all we have. Say what you need to say. I stepped outside to give her privacy, keeping watch through the small window in the door, my heart racing with every shadow and creak of the old building. What happened in those 20 minutes was between Sarah and Jake. I only know that when she emerged, her face was tear-streaked but peaceful. Thank you, she said simply. We carefully returned the casket to room 3, exactly as we'd found it. As we were about to leave, Sarah suddenly stopped. Wait, she whispered. She pulled a small rainbow pin from her pocket, Jake's first pride pin that he'd kept all these years. She carefully pinned it inside a suit jacket, hidden from view but there nonetheless. Now we can go. We slipped out as silently as we'd entered. No alarms, no security, no witnesses. The next morning, Jake was buried with his parents' solemn faces in the front row, and Sarah watching from a distance behind dark sunglasses. No one ever knew what we'd done. The funeral director never noticed the casket had been moved. The only evidence was a small rainbow pin hidden beneath a suit jacket, buried 6 feet underground, and the peace in Sarah's eyes when she finally allowed herself to grieve. I've never told anyone else this story. Breaking into a funeral home and moving a body is a felony in our state. But some nights, when I question whether what I did was wrong, I remember Sarah's words as we drove away from the funeral home. He would have done the same for me. He would have broken every rule to make sure I wasn't alone.